What's going on, everybody? How you doing? It's your man Phil Williams from the Phil Williams Show. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. Man, just gonna chime in today, man. Got some things I'd like to share as usual. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, welcome to the Phil Williams Show. I am a conservative, a true conservative. I am a true Christian. And that means that I function my conservatism. I function my Christianity to the best of my ability. How you doing, Huel Koresh? Huel Koresh. I hope I'm saying your name correct. How you doing? Janice Barlow. How you doing, Janice? That's an awesome article you put out about, we're talking and I share with you about Trump's Propecia. It's a telltale sign if you just look at the side effects. No media outlet will talk about the side effects of Propecia. I am the only one that said something about it. Janice wrote a great article. Check it out on National Compass. Dale McElwee. How you doing, Dale? Man, I loved your little post about judging. And I like to just add, because Dale is right on the mark, the thing that we're not to do is pass judgment. We have no heaven or hell to put anybody in. We are to make judgments. We are righteous judgments. But we can't pass a judgment. We can't tell somebody that they're going to heaven or hell for what they're doing. Passing judgment and making a judgment is two different things. Good post, Dale. Amy Kramer. How you doing, Amy? Well, that might be Kramer. I'm sorry. Amy Kramer, how you doing? Thomas Coates. Susan Haney. Susie, what's up, Susie? Man, you guys are some awesome people. You've been following me for a long time. I love you guys dearly. Again, welcome to all those who just tuned in to me for the first time. I am tall, but I love this country. I love my country. I will not let anybody get me ticked off at a place that I will not leave. I am not trying to leave America, and there is nothing a Democrat, Republican, sellout, whatever, nothing you can do to get me ticked off at my country. Because we are human, we all fall short. We all fall short. This is why Psalms 118:8 is one of my favorite scriptures. I use it every time I think I'm about to get sideways or disappointed by another human being. And it says, put not your confidence in man. Trust in the Lord. Man will let you down every chance he possibly can. That's why you don't put your confidence in him. You trust in the Lord. And you trusted the Lord that you're doing the right things to be that person that somebody could be or count on. But we all fall short. We all fall short. Nobody's perfect. Nobody. And that's why I love this country. We're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Anybody that tells you America is perfect is a fool. But America is the best country I know. As a person that's been in the military, a disabled military veteran fighting for my country, injured in fighting for my country, I've been to other countries. Trust me, America is awesome. That doesn't make the other countries not awesome. I seen people when I was in Panama, seem to be more excited and happier with life than people here in America that live in penthouses. Because there's a human aspect of things that we tend to overlook as Americans sometimes. Humanity has a cool way of dealing with every situation that it's in. It has a cool way. God is so awesome like that. Those kids in Panama, I'm looking at buildings with bullet holes in it and with 50 cal rounds in them and things of this nature. And those kids were playing and excited and happy about life. I've seen our children here in the States have everything handed to them on a silver spoon, and they are miserable. They are miserable. So what I realize is that things and stuff and all that kind of stuff is not necessarily it. But it's not for us in America with the freedoms that we have to look down on anybody else. It's not for us to feel substandard to anybody else either when it comes to life. So, saying all that, it brings me to this post today. I am what you call a political atheist. A political atheist. That means I put my faith in none of the parties. Zero. Democrat, Republicans, no. I'm a political atheist. I put no faith in them. But as a conservative, we tend to powwow on the right, which is Republican. So it pains me to do this, but I'm going to try to get a little political so I can make my point. The Republican Party. See, we are trying our best. We've been doing it for a long time. There's people making some headway. They're still trying. Glenn Talley, I'm sorry, my man, Glenn Talley. He's doing his best to do things with a constitutional party. There's a lot of different aspects out there trying to do something to get away from these binary choices, Democrats and Republicans. But until that takes off, I just like to deal with the right side of America, whether it's a third party right side, an independent right, whether it be the Republican Party right. I like to deal with this, and I like to talk about how the right side of America is being rebranded right as we speak. The right side, that free to slave Republican Party, it's lost its way. And the reason why it lost its way, see, I think it found its way because we the people. I think Abraham Lincoln captured something, or, him being the first president of the Republican Party and freeing the slaves. It was a we the people thing going on. I think we were attempting to tell other countries that human rights is important, but we're functioning in a country that's violating human rights. And the Whigs Party started going the way of the Democrat Party, and they started meshing like how we're experiencing now. And there was some principled Christian, God-loving Americans that was on the right side, the Whig side of things, that said, this is not right. Loyalty to humanity, loyalty to God, loyalty to basic human decency says whatever's happening politically, this is not right. Us enslaving these people and things of this nature, raping and murdering and all these kind of things, it's just not right. And they broke away from the parties, the Whigs and Democrats, that was not right. And they created a third party, the Republican Party. This Republican Party was based on trying to do the best we can as human beings, non-perfect human beings, and do what's right. And do what's right. And so they elected a president that tried and tried, but they elected Abraham Lincoln, and he freed the slaves. And there was such a disdain for this freedom that Abraham did that they thought that they were making some cool little slick gesture, and they put him on the money denomination that meant the less, and they have him facing opposite of all the other silver coins. Basically trying to make some kind of slick gesture that he turned his back on white people and things of this nature, and they put them on a low denomination, brown. And see, and it's not no conspiracy theory thing and things like this. Just know history. Learn history. But at the same time, learn things for yourself, and you can see how people are being slick and shady and trying to input things. So they put them on a penny, the least denomination. They turned them backwards because they felt that Abraham Lincoln turned his back on what they were trying to do that was unhumane to my ancestors. So the Republican Party started representing, or it just represented God, country, humanity. Not perfect. Don't forget they're human beings now. So they're not perfect, but they're doing something that's awesome. Which brings me to why this rebranding of the right side of America is utterly disturbing. And it should be disturbing to you. Why? Because the rebranding of the Republican Party and the right side of America, the rebranding of the church and the people that are supposed to know Jesus and things like this, the rebranding of this has us giving away the thing that was never able to stick to us. Has us giving it away on a silver platter. Has us giving our freedoms away to liberalism. has us giving our country away to Democrats. And if you know the history of Democrats, Dixiecrats or whatever you want to call them, you know they were the ones that held the slaves in the South and all this kind of stuff. They all had slaves. Nobody was perfect. Remember this, nobody was perfect. But they had a civil war because Democrats in the South wanted to hold on to what they had, money making, indentured servants and slaves and things of this nature. And the North and the Republicans said, no, this is not right. This is not what we want our country to be. And they fought over it. The South lost. And the Republicans in the North won. For years and years and years, the Democrat Party has been trying to paint us, the Republican or the right side, as the racists. Because they adopted the mantle of the government owes you and let us feed you and all these kind of things. They cater to the laziest part of humanity and people, and this is what we have right now functioning in our country. And then they're able to paint the Republicans as racist and repaint the Republican or the right side Christian lovers, but don't love people and humanity and all these kind of things. They don't look out for the poor. And when they're hiding the fact that the top 10 most richest people in America, 8 of them are Democrats, but but the rich are the Republicans and things of this nature, which makes what's happening now sad and disturbing. The Democrats are able to paint the right side of America thanks to your utter fondness of the magical R, dysfunctional politicians, a dysfunctional Washington, we must have a win, we must save the seat, we cannot lose. Because of this mentality, we are now painted as hypocrites. We are rebranded as hypocrites on the right side of the country. See, Democrats were the hypocrites. We always had the upper hand on them being the hypocrites. Them doing putting the rich against the poor and all the blacks and all the racist stuff. We've always had that upper hand. Why? Because we on the right side of America always had humanity involved. When humanity in mind, we believed in that biblical principle of feed a man a fish they eat for a moment, but teach a man to fish and they eat for a lifetime. We brought biblical principles into our politics. And the Democrats were hell-bent on trying to make us into hypocrites by what? That they're out for the rich. And then when they want to pass a tax and raise taxes on people, they say the poor people need this and they cater to the poor people. And then we're saying, no, the poor people need a job. They don't need to take from the rich and give to the poor like that. The poor people need a job because it makes them feel better. It makes them understand things better. Brings pride and things like this. But since the Republicans are lousy at messaging, the tax cuts, the tax hikes happen and things of this nature and all this kind of stuff. But now, fast forward to now. So that you can have 3 houses and all these kind of things and all this kind of stuff. Now we are rebranded as hypocrites. We're defending things we would never defend on the right. We're defending things that's not biblical by any stretch of the imagination. And Democrats are going to be able to say hypocrites. We're defending things that politically we would never defend. Debt going through the roof, all these social programs and all this foolishness. We're defending it now. Conservatism has been watered down to fit somebody who's a lifelong liberal. Our country is going to hell in a handbasket, and you're giving away the one thing that God said he can't stand. God said he can't stand a hypocrite. We're rebranded into the party of hypocrites now. The right side of America that's hypocrites. We're asking, when we're starting our third party movement, we're asking to get one of the hypocrites on the right side to come and be a part of our new party. How are you going to put this old wine and try to put it in new wineskins? We don't need none of the existing Congress people that can't stand for anything to come over and validate our third party. First of all, we need to get unemotional and recognize that it's not a third party. It's a viable second party. And it should be constructed by we the people that are tired of what we're seeing happening with the other two parties. We don't need a Mike Lee to come over to the third party. We don't need a Ted Cruz to come to the third party. We don't need a Rand Paul to come to the third party. We don't need any of them. Why? Because they've demonstrated that for a seat, they will give up the principles that we stand for, which is rebranding us as hypocrites. We're giving the status that we had dear. We're giving it away. For what? Now we got pastors protecting adultery and fornication and all kinds of foolishness. We got pastors convincing us that we have to vote for an evil. Could you ever imagine standing in a church where a pastor is saying we have to vote for an evil? Twisting the word 50 times sideways? And tell us that we have to vote for an evil in order to keep out an evil? Can you ever imagine where are we at, Christians? What is it to gain the whole world but lose your soul? Close the Bible up? Where is our standards? See, these standards freed the slaves. And these very same standards, if we hold to them, we can free these modern day slaves. Socialism is right here. Communism is right. All this stuff is right here. Why? Because we are hypocrites now. We are going to lose in 2018 because you had to gain 2016 at all cost. You had to continue to think and keep 2010 and 2012 and 2014. You had to keep these hypocrites, these sellout, spineless liars. You had to keep them in the seat, to keep the liars that's right there in your face. So they lied to you, backstabbed you, so that you couldn't have the ones that you knew exactly who they were. Democrats don't lie. We call them hypocrites. Because they were. And now you're trying to tell me we are going to be able to withstand the hypocrite card? We're going to win 2018 by keeping the same people in the seat that's helping with the rebranding of the right side of America so that we are functioning hypocrites. Name one conservative policy that we've been functioning since we gave them the House and the Senate. Name one. I'd just like to hear one. And no, Neil Gorsuch in this budget or this stimulus, whatever, passing, that's not it. Those were fish bones thrown at you. Wasn't even courteous enough to give you a chicken bone. Those were fish bones. We are being bone-fed conservatism in talk only. When was the last time you put some funds into going into an inner city of a bunch of captured Democrat kids, a bunch of captured slaves? When was the last time you took your resources into one of those communities and tried to free one of those children? When was the last time? Thank you. When was the last time you functioned conservatism? I'm not talking point verbal judo conservatism. When was the last time you functioned Christianity? Because we haven't been functioning it, and I'm even saying we knowing that I'm functioning it. Because we collectively, we the people on the right side of America, have not been functioning conservatism or functioning Christianity, the left is going to be able to say, look at what we are doing for you. Even though we know that it's slavery personified. Does that mean that we need to start giving out freebies? I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying we need to start doing something. We need to start contributing to something that's being done in these decimated new modern day slave quarters called HUD. We need to stop waiting for the government to come and save our babies from being killed in this opioid crisis. We need to stop waiting for government to come and rescue our children out of these cesspools we call public education. We need to stop waiting on the government to tell us what kind of health care we can have or what we can't have. We need to stop waiting on the government to tell me what I can do or what I can't do for children. We need to stop waiting on the government to give us what we need so we can stop human trafficking. We need to stop waiting on the government or a public official to get elected so that he can come and tell us, well, I couldn't do what it was because of that other government official on the other side. We need to stop waiting for the government to fill out a bill for term limits. We're waiting on the government to do way too much for us. Why? Because we are dysfunctional people on the right. We the people's not functioning right. How would you ever expect the government to function right if they're supposed to be a representative of us? We have been tricked into saying, no, we have to at all cost dog out, cuss out, block out everything. Another human being, another American. So our politician can go in there and do what? Tell us what he couldn't do because he couldn't get somebody to help him. We're saving seats of people that's going to come back and tell us what they can't do because of another seat. Come on, man. You're maxing out your donation, cussing me out, calling me a Democrat, a person that wants to see somebody lose on the right. No, I want what we have on the right to not function in its rebranding. I want us to stop being hypocrites, or commonly known as the whataboutisms. Well, what about Obama? What about him? See, you got to understand something. When you say what about, and this is why I really believe that a lot of our groups are full with Democrat trolls. Thanks to Rance Previous, letting them in. And you're too emotional and you just love the fact that somebody said, oh, yeah. And you like having the member numbers. Those member numbers is just something awesome to you guys. And so you like having those things and not understanding that you're sleeping with the enemy. And so, but this is how you can tell. Because this is how a whataboutism works. You ready? Check this out. I just slapped you. I don't want to be held accountable for slapping you. But I just slapped you. And then you come to hold me accountable, and I say, but what about Obama? He slapped you and I didn't hear you say anything. And so now you're supposed to say, okay, you can get away with slapping me. When is the slapping going to stop if you keep inserting a whataboutism in it? See, you're asking for a pass to something that just slapped you. So when they point out something that this orange Julius liberal does is not conservative, and they point it out, because a broke clock can be right twice a day, and the God can make your enemies behave, and yes, CNN can tell you something even though they're liberal. They can tell you something, but when they're telling you something, then you put one of Donald Trump's boys and girls up there, and they say, well, what about Obama? Because they're wanting them to say, okay, change the subject. We can't hold him accountable for that. And then you bite because why? You bit into the fact that CNN can't say anything positive. MSNBC can't tell you the truth. Guess what? When Obama was in, and I'm listening to Fox News, I didn't let them Democrats say that what Sean Hannity was saying about Obama, even though I knew he had racist tendencies and things of this nature. I knew. I'm not stupid. Even though he's representing the right side and he's conservative, I thought, thanks to Donald Trump, we know now. But I did not let the Democrats say that what Sean Hannity is saying is because he's racist, because I knew how dangerous this would be. I'm watching a liberal that just happens to be of darker skin color, still a liberal, getting a pass, being called out on the carpet, but it all being defined as racist. I was like Rush. I hope Obama doesn't succeed. Not because he's black, because he's liberal. Now, every day I wake up hoping liberalism doesn't succeed. Does that mean I'm a defeatist? No, I pray for Obama. See, you hypocrites on the right can't say that. But you sure will respond to me with a, well, what about it? What about your Bible you were supposed to know? You know, the one that you dropped off on the roadside so that you know, that one that's way back there? It's still back there. Because you know none of our school children picked it up. The Bible's the boogeyman to them, thanks to liberalism. People, we can't afford to be hypocrites. We can't afford to hang on and so that we can continue to give away our birthright. We can't afford to be hypocrites. This is why the blue wave is going to happen. Because they're going to be able to, with their 50%, they're 50% of the country. Matter of fact, let's make it a little more accurate. They're 45, are 45, and that 10 in the middle. We can't afford to be hypocrites. Unfortunately, unless we put Jesus back in it, it's a little bit too late for any of these people that's running to save their seat to sound like now they're the bastions of accountability. That's not good enough for me. And that doesn't mean I want the Democrats to win. But like I said before, and my good friend Shannon Joy said it today on her show, I'm not afraid of a Democrat. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of them one bit. You know what I'm afraid of? I'm afraid of somebody who's pissing in my face and telling me it's rainwater. I'm afraid of being stabbed in the back. I'm being afraid of somebody that supposedly has the same values and stuff as me flipping on me. That's what I'm afraid of. And really, technically, because I have Christ Jesus, I'm not afraid of that either. That's why I'm speaking to it right now. I'm not scared of you. But a lot of you have shown that you're afraid of losing a seat. The big bad Democrat. That joker's right in your face. We stick together when the Democrats are in. We act buck stupid when we get a Republican. We're only going to start a valuable third party when we see that it's really a second party. Call it what it is. We have to go by way of the Whigs now. There's one party, both hell-bent on control and suckering you. And if we're going to start a third one, we got to stop looking at we're going to win instantly. No, because we have a God that can't stand a hypocrite. And guess what? We're it. We're the hypocrites now. And I'm lumping we because I'm not going to separate myself out knowing that I'm not functioning like a hypocrite. But it's we the people, not them the government. I take the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is why I don't block people. This is why I don't unfriend people. And if I do it, the 2 times that I have, in the 3 years I've been on Facebook, the 2 times, I consulted you. I don't just do it because it's emotional and you're not saying what I want you to say. I'm with you. You're an American. I got injured in combat for that right for you to disagree or not say what I want. I got injured in combat for somebody to kneel. Not that I agree with it, but I got injured for their right to do it. See, I'm a combat veteran, injured disabled, for people's right to be what they are. I fight for your right to be a hypocrite. I'm just trying to show you that it's not going to work when it comes to saving our country, because God can't stand a hypocrite. And wouldn't you want God to be on your side? Wouldn't you want God to be on your side when you go out here and fight in the lion's den? Wouldn't you want God to be on your side when you're Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into the furnace? Wouldn't you want God to be on your side when you got to go up against Gideon's army and we got to shrink our thing down to 300 in order to be effective? Wouldn't you want God to be on your side? Wouldn't you want God to be on your side every time you part from your child and they got to go in here and learn that they got 2 mommies and 2 daddies and purple unicorns and things? Wouldn't you want God to be on your side when you have to send your child into that? Don't you want God to be on your side when you're sitting and eating at the Waffle House and somebody wants to come in there and do whatever they want to do? Wouldn't you want God to be on your side? When this legislator is behind closed doors and the lobbyist is in there with them and they're greasing their palms and they're about to do something to shinola you and your family, wouldn't you want God to be on your side? Wouldn't you want God to be on your side when they go in here and pass the omnibus bill and they're greasing the skids of all their billionaire homies that's got all the cabinet positions and all the EPA regulations and stuff like this, when they're passing a massive tax cut to continue to fund the murdering of our babies in the womb, and they're continuing to fund all this foolishness? Wouldn't you want God on your side? Wouldn't you want God on your side? When you got to figure out a way to love somebody that's going to call you out your name on this Facebook, wouldn't you want God on your side? Since I want God on my side, and I know what he said, he can't stand a hypocrite, I'm here talking to you. Don't you want God on your side? When we try to save this country from this day forward. Because just like my pastor, Jimmy A. Copeland, Mustard Seed Faith, where I'm proudly the youth pastor, speaking to our babies and God's children. You know, the world's adult is really God's child. You know that, right? This is not our home. We are just passing through. And we're establishing a record in the Lamb's Book of Life. And that record is going to record when you kept God on your side or you put him to the wayside. It's being recorded. It's being recorded. No matter what you think you're getting away with, it's being recorded. But because God is on your side, whether you want him to be or not, he'll forgive you 7 times 7 times 70. And that's a lot more than you can say that you would do to a fellow American that you say that you're doing all this fighting for. He can't stand a hypocrite. And us on the right is going to have to wake up and smell the coffee and understand this. Donald Trump, a lifelong liberal, has put the right side of America in the position to be rebranded as a hypocrite. All this foolishness is happening. Donald Trump and his children are fine at the end of the day. But the right side of America will be rebranded as hypocrites. Everything he's doing with this Mueller thing, just to see how much you'll protect. What has he done to deserve so much loyalty? Doctor comes out, just see what Republicans are going to protect. What kind of things are Republicans going to protect? Some other foolishness comes out. What are Republicans going to protect? Because the Democrats is taking score. And they're going to run against hypocrites. When we should be calling them the hypocrites. Because we stand on principles. And our principles is freedom. And we have a track record that shows when it came to people being slaves and people being free, we are 1-0. We won that. And why? Because we made sure we kept God on our side. Because we knew he couldn't stand a hypocrite. Hey. That's what I wanted to share today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I love you guys with everything I have. Please support some of my functioning conservative programs. Little Jimmy's Always Positive Tablets and Teddy Bears, where we give brand new computer tablets to children that can't go to school or children that need assistance so that they can be better in their education. Also support Little Jimmy's Get Fit Challenge. It's where we address childhood obesity through my partner, Patricia Baisden, retired Master Sergeant, veteran, Baisden Health Zone. And we go into schools and we do childhood obesity programs. Ms. Baisden does some tremendous things dealing with DNA blood testing and things of this nature. Dealing with things that can really be effective in addressing this childhood obesity or the obesity that we have in our communities, period. Support Little Jimmy's book, I Was Being Told But Nothing About My Dreams, where we're encouraging the community to come together and speak to our children's dreams and encourage our children to speak to their own dreams. Because if man lets them down, they have the tools to not let themselves down. You can find the book on Amazon. Purchase it, please. Functioning Conservatism. Jacob's Ladder, the only anti-drug CD in the country, to counteract, or more so get in between, all the pro-drug music that's constantly talking to our communities. You are not going to beat all this pro-drug promotion with a pamphlet and a brochure and a roundtable discussion. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Support Jacob's Ladder. Functioning Conservatism. Designed to free people. Something that we on the right used to know very well before we got hoodwinked into saving seats with no conservative or Christian results. How is Christianity still under attack in a nation that used to be 86% Christians? How does that happen? How does that happen? Oh, it happens when you let the church and what we stand for get hijacked by liberalism. Hey, go to littlejimmydjpaz.jimdo.com. You'll see a tab there. It's through our men's organization, Men on Point. Another functioning Christian conservative program that is encouraging men, showing men how to get connected to manhood, their families. Aren't we the ones that complain about the single parent household? See, Men on Point is doing something to address that. Doing something. This is an organization I'm proud to be a part of. Doing something, not just talking about it, doing something. And it needs your support. Support Men on Point, Disciples for Christ. Minister Stanley Howard. We've been together for 8 years now. Impacting men. In prison, out of prison, or out of prison that still seems like they're in prison. Freeing people. This is what the right side of America used to stand for. Support this stuff. It's 501c3. It's tax deductible. Just remember this. I love you. Thank you for listening. I love you so, so much. If you're tuning in for the first time, please share Phil Williams with your friends. And remember this. We may have come here on two separate ships, but we're all in the same boat now. And it takes both the black and white keys on the piano to play the Star Spangled Banner. So peace, love, together forever. Don't worry, be happy, and feel that energy. And remember, what you are is God's gift to you. What you do with yourself is your gift to God. Only one life will be passed, but only what's done while you're here will last. We were blessed before we had color. So engage your mind and answer one question. Do you think you can overcome what God said he can't stand? And that's being a hypocrite. Clean it out of your eye before you start looking at somebody else's. And then whataboutisms? Not passing a judgment, but I will make this kind of judgment. I don't think that gets you out of hell free. I don't think that's the get out of hell free card. What about Sodom and Gomorrah? Shoot, Sodom and Gomorrah is in hell asking for a do-over when they see what we're involved in. Hey, I love you guys again. Please support functioning conservatism. And yes, Brad Thor, I got you, bro. I'll run with you. I'll be your vice president. Or matter of fact, I'll be the vice president for anybody who wants to save this country. Because I'm going to bring some functioning conservatism and functioning Christianity to the ticket. Hey, again, love you. Share this. God bless.